everybody. How y'all doing? We're back once again. Thank you for tuning back in, as sometimes we do, Our somewhat seemingly, unseemingly delay doesn't change the fact that we are all here. So again, I thank you for your patience and your diligence in participating in what we do. So hopefully everybody can hear me. Everybody in the chat, please let me know if you can. Hopefully we can. Everybody, let me turn up the volume just in case. Hopefully, again, you can hear me. Wow, that's funny. Somebody was in the chat room just mentioned DMT, and that's what we were talking about prior to us coming on line. So as that's a synchronicity, you should probably build on DMT's relationship to solar storms and solar winds as an active component in the creation of the molecule that basically has the same molecules as everything else on the planet, but there's 4 specific ones that specifically have a great capacity of releasing certain synapses that exist in the human psyche that transcend physical human relationships from the body, from the environment, from reality or what we perceive as society. And our ancestors, again, were able to commune and travel into these higher aethers or ethers to understand how to firmly entrench themselves in a manner in the physical realm that would allow them to actualize their power from the so-called spiritual realm. However, as we proceeded and became more material and physical, as you know, we began to lose sight of the purpose of what this reality was really meant to be and became more consumed with the superfluous idea of maintaining it in whatever present order it existed as opposed to propelling it to even greater heights. So in some ways, what people were doing in the 12th century, in the 13th century, especially our people, was way more advanced than what our people, let's say, are doing now in the so-called postmodern, post-century era, So the same goes then for, in reverse now, to the adversary in the sense that what they were in the 1300s is nothing like they are now. So as that shows us then on a human psyche level, there's a certain evolvement and devolvement taking place based on so-called racial or species agenda, specifically juxtaposed between the two so-called black and white. So what makes DMT and how this relates to DMT, what makes it so interesting is that every being on the planet has the ability to assimilate it and have a experience the way that you have it. But the difference with DMT, I was watching some documentary and the dude referred to it as the DMT is like the Mike Tyson of hallucinogens, in the sense that you go in, you go up, and then you up there for a while, and then you come down real quick, and you back at yourself. And you got to just try to retain and download certain things while you in it. the specific aspect of DMT that's interesting is that as a tryptamine, it has an aspect of carbon that is then melanin activate that is also black or dark in nature, which then denotes a heavy melanin contact based upon the enrichment of the soil that goes through certain periods of cosmic radiation. Like, we have a Van Allen belt that protects us from stuff, but when the sun goes through certain storm periods, there's a heavy rotation and a heavy involution of cosmic rays and cosmic dust, as well as cosmic winds and so-called flares that actually not only lick the upper atmosphere, but as it licks the atmosphere, it downgrades itself in the form of light, heavy concentrated light, that is attracted to the darkest aspect of whatever it is above. Therefore, earth or dirt or volcanic rock or anything, plants, trees, things like that, ultimately absorb this thing and then have to produce something out of themselves that is affordable to the immense amount of information that is produced. Therefore, it comes out as DMT or ayahuasca or peyote, which, again, are not drugs, which technically can be called hallucinogens, but at the same time are or were medicinal purposes used by ancient medicine kings of our lineage who knew how to deal with all of that. Like, think about it. How you think these people knew what tree and what plant could do this and do that, or cure this or cure that? They're not plants. But maybe if you ingest the aspect of ayahuasca, you now become part of what they refer to as the brain, which is a universal vegetative arena that is ruled by a saw, which, again, is the Keynesian concept of the process of carbon-14, which is the downgrading and upgrading of energy from a stellar mass to a physical mass back to a stellar mass. So when we talk quantum physics like this, or we talk high metaphysics like this, what we are doing is actualizing the aspect in us that understands what DMT is or was for us, for example, and then allows us to have a greater capacity to understand the process. So that way, if we decide to do so, we know now how to actualize it. This, if we were writing a story, would be what a teacher would refer to as foreshadowing. You understand? Just like with the whole Kelly Clarkson thing, with the Super Bowl with her singing, and everybody was talking about how great Whitney was, where they crashed the whole Twitter thing. That was a foreshadowing to a greater event. So then dio or dio or dia in diamethyltryptamine means God. Dio, God. Or diamond. You know what I'm saying? So we're talking about a crystallized aspect, and when we talk about melanin, we're talking about a crystal, activated crystal. And when we talk about the pineal organ now, we talk about it from the perspective of someone who has an active pineal gland, because now that the devil is talking about the pineal gland, he's trying to make it seem like it basically works, is calcified in everybody. And that is true for those people who have chosen not to activate it. But once you have activated it, and you know when you have, by the level and rate of knowledge that you accumulate, and by the amount of aggression or transgression you receive on the road to achieving that would, if this was a wind tunnel, would be how they would measure the barometric pressure or the wind pressure or the resistance pressure of the given environment as they were trying to create an aerodynamic vessel that could be able to travel with the least resistance possible. So when I say that this dude was at the same hotel, and I'm saying that the Secret Service was already on the scene when they was going through the ritual and all of that, All I'm saying is that the level of disavowalment is only but so little. You know what I mean? So there's enough blame to go around, but only but so many people taking it. They're trying to pin it all on Bobby. But, of course, that didn't become anything. So when we talk about drugs and stuff like that, we're talking about things that are used to control people. We're talking about a means to an end to facilitate a certain degree of unilateral control over how people perceive themselves and the reality around them. Therefore, music, which is itself an intoxicant because it soothes the savage beast, is an influence and has to be augmented by aspects of this society through things like drugs and hallucinogens in order to, again, control people as well as people's perception of those same hallucinogens and quote-unquote drugs. But all the quote-unquote drugs are legal and all the quote-unquote hallucinogens are not. But the government uses the hallucinogens and the illegal drugs to kill and frame people, to lock people up. But they use the prescription pills and stuff like that to kill people. You understand? Let me tell you something. If they have 12 cases of celebrity deaths, and all of them cases got people dying of prescription pills, and ain't nobody questioning the people giving them the pills or producing the pills or how they get reference to the pills or whatever with the pills, it's a situation where somebody got to understand something's going on. Somebody is killing somebody in a consistent fashion in which most of the people involved ain't going to be represented in an actual sense. So it's crazy how it all just, as they say, all falls down, you know what I mean? See? Let me see. So, again, as they always look for a patsy and somebody to be put into something and somebody to be thrown away after it's all done, you know what I mean? You got to look to who's the next. So, in the next sphere cycle, I think we all should pray and send a aura of violet light, you know what I mean, around Nick Cannon, because it seemed like they hitting him hard with the shit. You know what I mean? This dude, mad healthy, all of that, all of a sudden this dude coming down with mad illnesses right after he had these white babies with Tommy Mottola's old squeeze. You know Tommy Mottola is the devil that, you know what I mean? All them people. He's Clyde's handler. You know what I'm saying? And he's younger than Clyde. He's like a smart Anakin. You know what I'm saying? People don't know. When TLC, after Left Eye got out of jail, TLC went up to LaFace to back down Clive Davis and them about what was going on. And Puffy snitched on him and wound up, blowing up the spot where they didn't be able to resolve and get their money and all of that. And from there, that's when Puffy moved up and got his deal with Arista. You got to do the knowledge. You got to, when you are a researcher, sometimes you got to look at the dates in which something happened and then look at the times in which these people fell and what people came up at the same period, because it shows the seesaw aspect of the reality and the sacrifice in play. You know what I mean? And you got to also remember the Secret Service deal with money. You know what I mean? So the fact that they always around, or the fact that they was around in terms of protection of the president, as well as around during that time of that ritual, that was not necessarily in their sphere of influence, but at the same time, you know what I mean, if they wanted to, they could have made something happen. That's all I'm saying. You know what I mean? So definitely got to do the knowledge to that. Then, on the level of what I was saying about things like DMT and stuff like that, these are the things that, because it's an operating mechanism for different corresponding beings to communicate with one another and the universe around them all at the same time, there's an aspect of uncontrollability with it. So therefore, when you hear about drugs and stuff, they don't really get into that too much because of the straight psychoreactive effect of it. Because it's something that you do and then you come down and then you process and then you can do it again and come down and process. Therefore, unlike something like heroin where you just be nodding and leaning out for hours, whatever experience you have in on the spirit realm is prolonged, but it's diluted due to the Neptunian aspect of that type of drug, whereas the DMT is more of like an awakening type of thing where you are actually active on the psychic realm, in the psycho-spiritual realm, that allows you then to correspond. Just like weed, right, good weed, you know what I mean? However, at the same time, nobody ever really gets as high as the first time that they really smoke. You know what I'm saying? Because we have a natural healing factor within us, especially due to the melanin, and because the weed, the crystals in the weed helps the crystals in the melanin, it's proven that weed stops emphysema and asthma and all of that stuff. So all of the good plant stuff is killing everybody. See, it's not that there's people over in Afghanistan that have a tea, a soup that they prepare with the poppy seeds, with the cocaine. You know what I'm saying? And they eat it with meat and all of that. And them people, before the wars, would live for a long time. But right now, you're talking about a population whose oldest adult is like 35. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're 35, you're old. This is because they killed so many people over there. You know what I'm saying? And make way for what they need to do with the whole Russian thing that is all kind of snatch and grab. So this has caused great disturbance amongst the ranks of those people who are involved in these different MK programs, and therefore certain drugs like weed and these things, and weed and DMT specifically, are targeted and are being specifically watched, as well as things like ayahuasca and peyote, you know, certain strains of mescaline, but not the chemical mescaline these things be making. I'm talking about the real shit. So this is all coming into play due to the fact that people in parts of the world now, especially these struggling governments, are getting into the drug trade to allow themselves to make more bread to gear up for this big, what I call a big party that they got planned due to them trying to destabilize Europe and basically turn Europe into what it was in 1933 due to the riots and all of that, starting with the destruction of Greece. So that plays out over here as more so-called contenders to the throne try to act like they get this dude out. The only way they can get this dude out is if they come up with somebody out the hat. The only person they could pull out the trick bag like that would be somebody like Jeb Bush. Why? One, it would help with the Vatican situation because they're at war with each other, shooting and killing each other over in Rome, and hiring mafia people to come and protect them. But the mafia don't really have the same power that it used to over there due to all of the influx of these people from Eastern Europe, all backed by intelligence networks who use that black op money to come over here to spy on your ass. So these guys create situations where they got to move this money. So in the Vatican, there's one side that's not down with Ratzinger based upon the fact that, you know, they talk about he's a homosexual and an open homosexual and all this other type of shit, as well as the Hitler thing. But it's not so much the Hitler thing now. It's also more the fact that he is the one who gets the one sign who gets what money from the Vatican Bank. And so now he's trying to squeeze out certain other aspects of it And some of that money is tied up into this MK stuff that they over here doing to the American people. So they need that money freed up so that way they could gear up for what they need to do in Jerusalem, so that way they could try to take it as Templars or Knights of Malta or whatever they want to do and set up the new kingdom in the post-2012 world. Because the post-2012 world is basically a model based upon if you can imagine, a futuristic feudal society with a dystopian migration of different characters who are ultimately leading to the destruction of everything. You know what I'm saying? So this plays out over here again in situations where they try to create insurgent gangs amongst American people based upon them targeting different gangs, because all the gangs are now under surveillance of police intelligence, which are now working directly with members of, CIA or whatever intelligence that get their orders from people like Petraeus and the rest of these dudes. This is only relevant to us in the fact of how this plays out and how law enforcement deals with those people who consider themselves citizens of it. So if you look around you, there are certain ethnic groups that are forming different collective groups to create political agendas that allow them to bring about a form of a codified form of behavior for the group. So as they're saying now that the Hispanic or Latin people are going to be the second most dominant, you know what I mean? They're saying that the Western Africans or the Sub-Saharan Africans are going to be, the next, and then above them is us. But at the same time, this is the UN projection. The UN NATO projection is the projection of them in, let's say, the New World Order open society. So there is no more United States, let's say there is United Nations. They can't really thrust that on the people because they made too many movies and too many people conspiracy crap and all this stuff out about that. So they got to get the people into a frenzied state to be able to create a military situation in which now the people are being tended to by foreign troops. The only way you can do that is to create a big enough war to get everybody out of here to get them over there. Therefore, as soon as the people that are coming back here, they're already shell-shocked for the war they've been through. Now they got to deal with the war as civilians now over here, which then becomes the quagmire that they want to bring everybody, lump everybody up into. But that's not going to work. One reason that's not going to work is because in this year's consistory, a consistory is basically the appointment of a certain degree of cardinals that are going to come from the college based upon them being upgraded from the bishops. At least that's how it was in the old Roman thing. I don't know if they're still doing that now because I'm not a Catholic. But what I do know is that a lot of that system is based on, the Catholic system is based on the ancient Catholic system, and those people were Coptic Moors with Frankish influence. So there's basically a coup going on over there in Rome and Italy and all of that, which is also being brought on by the onslaught of the American financial Wall Street zombie bank people that's coming out and walking dead in their banks over there in Europe by getting these debt-free countries to agree to now deal with derivatives to help deal with the stabilization of the rest of the world. But all that's going to do is make these now solvent countries insolvent due to them dealing with an insolvent nature. That would be like you offering a bank money when you don't have a money and neither does the bank. But what the bank does have is the ability to loan money. When you loan money to the bank, you become a founder of the bank. You become a representative of, you become a stockholder in the bank. But again, the number one stockholder in all of these so-called zombie banks, or what people like Joseph Farrell or some of these other pundits that they have in the arena, referred to as bond banks. These banks are basically just clearinghouses for debts that can never be paid. All of those debts are accumulated off the said sweat, tears, blood, sweat, and tears of the so-called American people. But the American people only does not represent the citizens of the United States. The citizens of the United States are American people only in name only. If you don't have a nationality, a God, a flag, a system of your own government that you adhere to, then you are a undeclared party, and therefore you can be subject to whatever it is they want to do. You could be subject to that even if you have all of that, but that's not the point. The point is, what stance are you willing to take at this point to be able to preserve what it is you know is really going on? Because all of the stuff that I'm telling you is going on, I'm telling you because nobody else is going to tell you in a clear, concise fashion that you could do the research yourself and do the knowledge and see that this is basically the same game that was going on at the time that Boabdil lost the throne or gave up the keys to the Alhambra, or when Lord Tammany let William Penn and them into this being able to vote as a republic. It's the same thing. Whenever you let these people in, you get screwed. But see, the difference in this instance is that they tricked us to be able to fight our way in. So when you see these black people humiliating themselves, abasing themselves, sacrificing themselves, killing themselves, you know what I'm saying, stripping themselves, cutting themselves, all this shit they do on TV for entertainment for you, this is not only an exhibit of torture, but this is also a cry for help and an exhibit to show you how sick the society has become that has produced the instance where people, again, have got to the point where the only way that you can make something of yourself is to destroy yourself. So when I say that the apoptosis gene within the so-called American people is being groomed and honed and harvested to a point where people just feel like they need to kill themselves, when they tell you that Don Cornelius shot himself in the head to keep his wife from getting his money, people believe that shit. The real reason the United States is upset at North Korea has nothing to do with the fact that they have nuclear weapons. It has nothing to do with that. That's the cover story. The real reason is because North Korea is one of the biggest and best counterfeiters of $150 bills and $20 bills in the whole world. They said that they found counterfeit is better than the money that's in circulation in the United States. Why do you think they just let these niggas just throw money at people and all of that? It's all fake. How did North Korea get the minting? If these niggas don't even got food, how is it that they got the ability to get a perfect counterfeiting ring, international counterfeiting ring of 150, and not have no money from it? They're not they bugging. All of their lies is coming out. They can't kill nobody anymore without us thinking it's a ritual killing. I don't give a damn how they die. They could trip downstairs. Oh, well, I don't believe it. Unless I see the nigga, you know what I'm saying? If I do the numbers on the shit and it don't look right to me or follow a certain pattern, then I got to go with what I know as the accumulated reasoning thus far. And thus far, it seems most people who die in the public spotlight are killed and are killed for a reason. You can't tell me that's not the case if they, an hour after she's dead or an hour before she's dead, they called in and started taking her CDs out of the dollar bins, started putting them on the shelf, started upping the price to $15, $10, $15. Who gave that call? Who's catching that check? You think Jennifer Hudson asking them that? Nope. Nope. She show you how far she's willing to go. But you'll never know because she'll never be around anybody real. These people cannot be around. That's the reason. In order for you to be around somebody like Beyonce, in order for you to be around somebody like God David says, people, you'd have to slow your vibration down enough, or be in an area that is harsh enough but slow enough for their vibration to catch up to you. So that would be like you going to a bar and this nigga, one of these niggas be in a club. You know what I'm saying? But when that's going on, you usually never see them, or they usually bounce. Because you, as someone who is actively working on themselves and raising their chakric understanding through their science of your physical interaction with the world around you, has raised your vibration enough where you are emitting a dark matter radiated halo around you, and it's repelling people and causing people uncomfortableness when they're around you. They can't put their finger on it, but it's something about you that is not necessarily jiving with them. And so they try to find something physical to focus on, and then that becomes it. But it's not that. It's the fact that you're emitting such a high vibration. It's like you always walking around with a blowing a dog whistle. When dogs see you, they're going to keep going all the way. But a human will see that and think, oh, they don't like you, or they're scared of you. Not that. It's just that they blew you blowing the whistle at such a high frequency that it's hurting their ears, so they bounce. So it's the same thing happening on a spiritual level, especially when you have working on bringing the spiritual aspect into your physical aspect, to take your physical aspect to your spiritual aspect. Because it's a marriage and a union of the two, which is what the marriage and the union is about. The groom is the one that is groomed to the position of manhood, and the bride is the one who has reached the level of the braya, which is the level of the tier of the tree of life, or sphere of the tree of life, that has the influence of specific Sephiroth, which allows the bride then to be the physical representation of what is to be, which will be sounded by the quote-unquote pitter-patter of little feet that come later. So if you look at the shape of a bride and the shape of a bottle and the shape of a bell, they're all the same. Because everything that's physical out here got to be a representation of the original physical, or what they call Sakara Femme, or the Sangalayal, which again is the original woman. Actualized, represented, brought forth, worked with, walked with, you know what I'm saying, procreated with the original man. Dark energy and dark matter in union, creating the web of what we call reality. A Saw and a Set creating Heru, and then a Set creating the veil of Aset, or the veil of Isis, that now becomes the physical reality we have to fight through in order to know who and what we really are. So due to this falling of their whole society, and due to these rituals that they have now done to try to bring about some sort of celebration for themselves, has actually done the opposite. So now they threaten and allegedly just talk about putting these pictures out with the Pope, with the boys or whatever. You know what I mean? Or pictures of him with Hitler or whatever, however they're going to do. Whether it's true or not, doesn't matter. This is going to destroy thousands and thousands of Catholics, thousands and millions upon millions of black people who are Roman Catholics, who look at the Pope as God. You know what I'm saying? So you're talking about, again, a holy war that's being created to perpetuate this, again, being paid for by what they refer to as mega dollars or super dollars coming from North Korea. But they have no way to stop them because North Korea is hooked up with China, and they know they owe China all this money. You understand what I'm saying? It's always the money. So based on this now, the House of Lords is being indicted and being put under scrutiny in London, which is now causing the intelligence people over there to do things to black people, like raise the price of food and shit over there, as well as crank down on more like entertainers and actors and people that's trying to come over there that's black. They're doing all of these things to, again, divert what's really going on, the fact that they are at war. And because it's a war where you got one guy who works in the office that's in Malta, And then one guy works in the office, that's a Scott. And then one dude is in the office, that's a Bones. And then another dude in the office, he's a Lou Large, he don't know nothing. Then another dude in the office, he not down with nothing. Then another dude in the office, he this. So this war that's going on is going on between the operatives of people who are in situations where they don't even know, the general environment don't even know that this war is going on. But again, it's the same war. This is what brought down the Medici, which led to the rise and fall of the Borgias. You know what I'm saying? So now with them going under all of the scrutiny, this is now creating more of a situation, but this is a great situation for us because at the same time this is happening, Venus, Jupiter, and the moon is 20 degrees apart. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be like that really up to March 7th, really. So it's coincidental now they want to try to shut the internet down on March 8th. But there's a trine, y'all, between Moon, Jupiter, and Venus. Venus representing beauty, representing Hathor, representing the bounty, representing that which is most abundant, well, that which is most sought after. Then Jupiter, which is that which is most abundant. Then the moon, which is that which is the most swift and changeable. So now is the time when people who have, let's say, gambling addictions and things like that will start to come up or come down based upon the influence of anything can pop. If you got something that kind of looks good, you can kind of pop it right now in this little trine section. Because then by the 12th to the 13th, it's going to be like 3 degrees. They're going to be like 3 degrees apart from each other, which is going to be next level in the spherical sense as well as the supernatural sense for us. So look for something where they have like a great event, like maybe some sort of a thing where they have one of their celebrities come out and have like a real intimate interview, you know, with the family, some sort of to make it look, you know, splendid, you know, as well as things where they try to have like beautification process, because this is also during New Year. You know what I'm saying? New Year started on March 21st, so into the 22nd. So in that, you're seeing the last of the winter rituals coming to an end. Because when you think about the winter ritual, that happened after Jason. You know what I'm saying? Well, no, actually, that's not true. What month is this? February? January was in, right? Excuse me, yeah. You're right. This happened after Jason. You know what I'm saying? In January. Jason started in July. So this is something that they did to bridge the time sphere between the time frames that these mega individuals represented, specifically to original people and their music, which, again, is American music. There is no American music is black people music. They want black people to be in the country and all of that, and they want black people and people in the world to believe that white folk was always doing hip-hop. But those of us who grew up in America at the rise of hip-hop in the beginning knew it was not the case. You understand? I went through real situations with authorities coming up as a youth over this hip-hop shit. You know what I mean? Where I saw people really get hurt by the police and their art confiscated. And then years later, these same pigs who took their art is now taking it to Paris, getting bread off it. And the artists don't even know. So this is what's going on, you know what I mean, to a certain degree. So with all of this happening, coincidentally, with now this other war going on, everybody's now choosing a side. So this is now America's ploy, or the United States has to figure out how it's going to operate, which again is the time for us to understand that the operation that we have has already been at play. tools that we have had and need to actualize and upgrade our position have always been at our disposal and always been in our grasp. We just put ourselves outside of it when we chose to go into disciplines that were set up to almost be counter aspects of what we know can actually help us. And what can help us is understanding that we are the mother, father of humanity. That's it. Whether nobody else in the world believes that, you got to believe that and know that that's true. Because everything in the universe that I'm reading and reaching to is referring to reality and that which is Lord of that, being incarnated in carbon. And we are the primary people in that. And because we are the most dejected, we have then the obligation to understand why. Why is it that they only want you, black woman, or why is it only you, black woman, are subjecting yourself, again, to a process that is now proving to cause fibroids in black women specifically? This is the perm. This is what they're putting out there. Now, you think they didn't know this when they was promoting this? Because you got to understand, most of the women that was going through a perm situation came up, let's say, up to the 50s. Then, like the early 60s, it was like a awakening. Where all of these black women who had perms had these kids, and then these kids just started growing out their hair, and all of them was natural. So then from like 52 to like 79, everybody had natural hair. And then from 1980 to like 1984, you see the rise of the process in the hair. Media now. You understand? Because a lot of the shows, even though at the time they was looked at like, oh, this is some latest shit, blah, 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 some of it was, a lot of it was more real than the crap they got on now. Good Times was way realer than True Blood. You understand? For real. You know what I mean? I watch Good Times any day before I watch True Blood. So what's the other one they got? The other one with the black woman. If you want to be a beautiful black woman, you've got to be with a white man on TV. If you want to be a black woman on TV, you got to be obese. And then you got to play a maid or an abusee or a drug addict or something that debases yourself. If you want to be a pretty black woman on screen, your love interest got to be a white man. So what does this do to all of the black girls that's growing up in the hood that's now being subjected to these niggas that's only watching these videos, but they only after these Italian-looking white women? What is this doing to the generation that these two babies is going to have? Because now this is a black boy that don't necessarily want to be black, don't know if he's gay, don't know if he's straight. Same thing with the black girl. She don't know if she's gay, she don't know if she's straight. She don't know if she this, that, whatever. She want to be light-skinned, she want to have straight hair. All of this stuff is what our children are going through. White kids ain't going to do that. White kids' problem is not their identity. They already assume that their identity is the fact that they're white. You understand? They have no worries they have no worries when it comes to the money. And I'm not talking about the people that talking about poor white trash or poor white people. Because those people, if they put themselves in a situation and marry up, they can always come up. But you, as a dark-skinned black man or a dark-skinned black woman, you always going to be dealing with a certain degree of stigma. You understand? Based upon how members of our society and our race have allowed themselves to be depicted, which represents us whether we want to accept it or not. I'm not saying you got to be this. It's all forms of artistic expression, all of that. But we are at war, and we are being preyed upon and being sold out by our own people, and we have no apparatus in our community to deal with it, honestly, because we really don't know who's really down with it or not, which is what the Bible said would happen. You would not know woman from man. You would not know friend from foe. Brother would turn against brother, and father would turn against son. This is it. We're looking for the shit to go down, and it's already in. They've already committed. You understand? This thing is a go. So it's really what we want to do, and how we're going to actualize our understanding. Because it's us. And if it wasn't, what did Rakim say? He said, I'm the R, the A to the K I am. If I wasn't, then why would I say I am? Exactly. If we are saying that we are this, whether we have gold in our pocket or silver in our pocket or a feather on your head or a head wrap on or a bunch of dreadlocks or an afro or a fade, whatever it is, if you can agree that we are the original people and we can consolidate around a union in which that can be represented, where everybody can have their own autonomy, but as a quote-unquote race, we do something about it. Which is what Marcus Garvey was doing. Which is why the Boule had to be created. To steer, again, intellectuals away from the works that Garvey was putting down. But again, Garvey was in concert with Noble Jew Ali. And they were both in concert with Sheikh Deuce Muhammad. And they were all into the ancient mystery system. And they all were implying and employing that in their everyday endeavors to erect the things they did that's already out here for us. We just don't have and have not set up the institutions that's solely for us. Think about it. If they lied about history, then what the hell is a historic black college? Other than a place where they have historically miseducated us into the integration of how they wanted us to integrate into the system. A system that we initially allowed to be set up for their forefathers to intern themselves in, but because they ran it into the ground, they needed our help to come back in, but they didn't want us to come back in as equals. We had to come back in as 14th Amendment citizens through the confiscation of the gold. The gold in Fort Knox that they are hoarding is our pineal organ, the power and potential that exists in us. The physical gold that's in there don't mean a damn thing. Because if I was to get, if this was our society, a natural society, if I go and want to get this Bentley, and this Bentley weighs 5,000 pounds, I go and get 5,000 pounds worth of gold and put it in front of you. Then I own the car, you understand? But if I was to do that today, these niggas would be calling the Department of Treasury. Where this nigga get the gold from? How did he have that? You understand what I'm saying? And it would be black people putting me through the ringer to do that. That's not how it is. White people erect buildings and universities to their scholars. You understand? We don't do that. We ain't do that yet. And when we do, it's always somebody from the Boule. So what's up with that? You know what I'm saying? So just like in everything, they got their role to play, but their role is to block you. The true and living. So regardless to what their actions is and what it is they act like they're doing or want to do, they are still in a society or in a world where they are serving your enemy. And our genetic or the genetic survival of this enemy is based upon what genetic material they can harvest off of you and your children generationally for as long as you exist in their mind. You understand? That's why when these people get into these interracial relationships, they can't have no identity, these black people, yet they still get NAACP Image Awards. The head of the NAACP is lighter than Obama. So, because I'm a black man, and I may talk about the difference in how people perceive complexion and use it to control other people, and how, let's say, a darker aspect of our quote-unquote race is being literally genocided on every day and told that it's ugly and told that it's not worthy and all of this. You understand? We got black men who have influence all over the world, and they're showing the opposite. What does this do to the future that we are creating for ourselves? But it's not the future that is being used up. It's the now. It's the ever-present moment in which these people can keep themselves in the media to stay relevant, to stay around in the consciousness. Because once you stop thinking about them, they're done. So they got to constantly be at work, constantly producing great amounts of stuff, whether they want to do it or not. It's always a means to an end. And that means that it's coming to an end. You know what I'm saying? So whether we choose to accept it or not, this is what they have wrought for their society. So as that society goes out, another one burgeons and becomes real, and that is the one that exists on the very edge of our imagination and our dream that we have the ability to grasp and make whole, so long as we are honest with ourselves first and then come together at a point where we can let each other be ourselves. So what if you believe that Yahweh is God? So what if you believe that, you know what I'm saying, the Nubians didn't get it from the Moors and the Moors didn't exist? So what? I don't give a damn about any of that. I don't give a damn if the woman came first and the man came first. What I give a damn about is who's going to be first now. Is it going to be us or is it going to be somebody else? What can we do with all of that now? Noble Ali said the time will come when the new Moors would come and tell the old Moors to sit back. And this is the time that he's talking about. That what are we creating in not only the physical world but in the mind frame to prepare for the future? What we perceive the future to be. Are we even understanding what that consciously and perceptibly is? We have no think tank or anything that's strictly dedicated to our future and the positive preservation of that or the righteous preservation of that. Nothing. Nothing. Show me anything and I can show you how it's influenced by something else. So I'm also here to tell you at the same time that this is going down. As much as these niggas want to lock down everybody and control everybody, they know they can't stop you. Think about all the times that you done got something that you wasn't supposed to get illegally and got away with it or whatever at a point when it was police or whatever around or whatever. You don't think they know? They know who they can deal with and who they can't deal with. You never hear about Asian people getting beat up by the police. You never hear about Jewish people getting beat up by the police. You never hear about that. Never. You never hear about that. What you hear about is Spanish and black people getting beat up by police and targeted, killed and raped, shot, dragged, hanged, found dead, sprinkled pills, right? But there's no national referendum on that. And we got a black president. So what are they telling you? What are they telling you? They're telling you that the president will sit down with the person who beat up the black man next to him. They'll put the cuffs in the Smithsonian that the white terrorist cop named Crowley used on the nigga, and then they'll all sit down and have a beer together. So, of course, niggas could buck up on me and try to turn it out, you know, and shut down the show or do the little things they do to irritate, but they're not really trying to mess with me because I don't really care. That's the other aspect of it. I don't really care what happens to their society. All I know is that it's functioning right now. And there are aspects of it that I can use to my ability to do what I got to do. Therefore, it's good for something. You see what I'm saying? You see how messed up it is? Regardless of how much you're against it, you still got to participate in it. That's not how reality really works. Reality works based upon you. What you perceive the reality to be and do is what it's supposed to be. It's only here that it's like this. It's only here that you have to wait for shit. Why do you think they want to just control this place? Because this is the only place that they can keep all of this crap going. They can't keep this going nowhere else. They can't take this crap nowhere. These people can't take what they're doing on this planet to another planet. Are you crazy? These people can't even leave. These people can't even leave this planet to do this on the moon. They can't do none of this shit, man. They got to make movies about that. They got to make you believe that they can do it, stuff like that. They can't really function on that level themselves. No. If they could, you think they'd be here wasting time on you? They would be out, son. They'd watch the dude, man. They would be out, son. They would get rid of everything, everybody. They would. If they didn't need us, they would not have got into the whole integration. They would have not instigated that to begin with. So, of course, Thurgood Marshall will become Supreme Court Justice after he wins Brown versus Board of Education. Of course, because that's the ritual. This don't mean that he didn't work his heart out, he wasn't oppressed and all that. What I'm saying is that the adversaries fund both sides. And just like I said, you got this dude who's working in, let's say, Time Life. In Time Life, you got this guy who works for this agency, this dude who works for this agency, this dude works for this agency. These dudes have beers together, all of that. None of them know that they down with other shit reporting on the other niggas. This is the type of world that they created. They want a world of Jason Bourne. They could just turn niggas on and off. It's good you said that. Somebody on Raw, peace to you, said a small step for man and a leap for mankind. Told you that they're kind of man. Exactly. What's the difference between man and mankind? When did the word mankind come into the natural vernacular of modern conversation? I'll tell you, when eugenics came around and they had to find a way to identify themselves and put themselves in an evolved state from the Neanderthal, when really they're one generation away from that. Why do you think as soon as they get locked up and get sequestered and locked down in a cave where they revert to an animal state? Look at the movie that's out now with Liam Neeson called The Grey. This movie is about a white man who took over the wilderness, now gets trapped in the wilderness, and now the wilderness is coming to take him. And he lost his bride. And remember what we just talked about with the bride. So you got to do the knowledge to this. Just the fact that they called it The Grey. There were no gray aliens in it, or was it? It's all allegory to create a window dressing of a reality that really doesn't exist, that's based upon a theory called eugenics. But EU means hillside. Rope means to bind in. You understand? So we're talking about people who have a sequestered understanding of caucuses of Asians, who are not really that. In my book that will come out soon, inshallah, I write down what was in Black Wall Street. Like it was a functioning society. You understand what I'm saying? That took up a huge section of, because it wasn't just the land that was bombed out. It was the land that they owned. They was buying all them white people out. This is why these white people be doing shit they doing. They started buying them out. They didn't have no money. You think these white people didn't have no street lights? Living in Black Wall Street was living in that area, Tulsa, Oklahoma, like that was living like in a stadium. Like all the lights was in a stadium, and all around you with the white folk, it was all in the dark. You didn't have no lights and none of that. That's why they was having Klan rallies all the time. But even the Klan uniform is an old school Moorish uniform of the high priest that was dealing with what I was talking about, the intake of DMT and peyote to the Kabbalists of the 11th, 12th, and 13th century. They whack, man. Let's see if we get a call. 469, let's do Heru Radio. 469. Can you turn down your radio? Yes, no. 323.
I'm here.
Heru Radio.
I'm here. Good. I'm doing good. This is Amore's grandma.
Hey, how you doing, Mama? How you doing, Linda? It's good to hear from you.
I'm doing good. I'm enjoying the show. I was listening to what you were saying about Mr. Mottola, if I can call him a mister. And a friend of mine refreshed my memory a couple of years ago that I knew his brother and his father. And when you say he's the devil, they said he was the devil. And I said that was his father and his brother. Said he was straight up devil.
He gave his whole essence to the beast. That's why you don't never see him. You know what I'm saying? You see Clive and these other ones, but you don't see him because he's one of them big ones. They made a song about him. Remember that song? Tommy Mottola. He lives on the road. Yeah, that's basically about him. You know what I mean? Him being the devil. But again, this is how they run their society, and they made a structured order of it that works for them. And we don't really get into it until we break out of, let's say, the ghetto to the point where we start making money where they want to now influence because they want to graft onto us before we realize that we're really here to make a difference for our people. Because these people come up and they help their people. Africans come in this thing, make money, they help their people, man. Some of them. Our people
some
come
of them.
up. We have like little charities and stuff like that. But on a whole, how are all these charities hooked up? Because see, on a certain level, all of them white charities is hooked up together. And they all circulate the money and figure out who's going to move and what region they're going to come together and do it and who's going to take what part of Africa. So Madonna got Malawi. Ben Affleck got Uganda. Matt Damon got Haiti. What's his name? George Clooney got the Sudan. Helping get that up. Right? Then you got Angelina Jolie playing the whole globe. Going to Cambodia, going this way, going that way, accumulating babies, mind controlling them, programming them, making them so that way they can send them back to their homelands, and these people will be kings and queens there because they got money and they got a international army behind them, and because they've been mind controlled and ritualistically put through monarch program or whatever else they do to them, give them a jump, you know, give them a bath, you know how they do. You know?
And then it was so interesting when you were talking about natural hair and sisters and stuff like that. And these people were going nuts on Yahoo about Viola Davis wearing her natural hair to the Oscars.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like,
they love it.
I'm like, well, why y'all acting so crazy because she's wearing her natural hair? Are y'all scared now? She's saying something?
Yes. But on another level, they love it. Because think about it. These white folk don't be around real black people. Whatever reality that was in these black people that was in them is totally gone now because they all sycophantic. They all do shit to get the approval of white people. So they're not really authentic black people to these white people. This is how crazy racist these white people are. They look at these niggas like, oh, you dope and you all of that and these black people love you, but you're not really like, you don't really have it hard. Like, you don't really, you know what I'm saying? Like, you came from that. Like, how long can somebody like Jay-Z try to get street credit off of selling drugs? How long is the people in the hood going to let that be enough? You know what I'm saying? To keep supporting somebody who they already know, who has allowed himself to become the face of the damn Illuminati, where people think about the shit, they don't even think about the people that's really doing shit. They think about this nigga. They think about him, his wife, and his baby. He set his whole self up for the ultimate sacrifice of Heru, Aset, and Nephthys, which would be, I guess, you know, they baby, God forbid. But this is the world, but they'd rather that than do it without any of those type of accolades, by actually having the accolades of people who matter, people like us, people like you. People don't want that.
You know, because I was just listening to you, and then what you were talking about, you know, these sisters, because here in L.A. I see so many of these sisters running around here, and they want to make sure they have a little light-skinned baby, and they'll run out and get a Mexican boyfriend or a white boyfriend so they can have this little light-skinned baby. And I'll see them walking down the street, and, and they'll have these weaves down to their butts, and, and it's like they have no hairline, but they got that little bit of hair that's hanging, and I'm like, whoa.
Is that some of them people has been genetically experimented on? Some of them people is run away. Some of them people is runaway drug mules. Some of them people is straight killers. You understand? Just like you got people in the hood that's like that, but the difference is when we prey on each other, but there's no protection now when it comes now from somebody else because we have been trained not to support each other. So we'll see MS-13 2 years ago was out there killing black people for initiations in Jersey and in parts of Los Angeles. This was a big thing. So certain rappers who came out and did things about it, but it was nothing where it was trying to squash the beef. You know what I mean? In mainstream media, because that's what they wanted. So that's what I'm saying, even with this situation where the dead gonna bury the dead, we got to focus on those people who want to live, and those people are those people who want to deal with something real, create something that's actually going to help us, as opposed to perpetuating the same old stuff that has been proven not really to work. Now, and then like time when we could have some type of police force or all of that based upon all of this killing and stuff going on.
And then like when you were talking about, having a structure and not an organization, but institutions behind you. And we don't have that. A friend of mine said, oh, well, why don't you do blah, 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 paperwork, put that in, da-da-da-da-da. And I said, there's nothing to back it. Who's going to back it? We don't have an embassy to back it. I said, these people, I can put all that stuff in, but they just going to laugh at me. And don't take it serious and say, you better go to court with this. We're not recognizing this. And I said, and I said, and that could have been established, but so many of these brothers out here trying to be the big chief, don't want to be an Indian, want to be the chief. Everybody can't be a chief, baby. We got to have followers. It's like, okay, let's establish it. If you want to go over and do your thing over there, you do your thing over there, but we know we all have this common goal, and we come together and work together for this, and we don't have to like each other.
I don't even think they know how to do it, because to do it, you got to come clean for whatever alliances that you made to not do it, because that's what's going on too. You got people who have committed other things, who have done other things that they're not willing to be real about. And what happens is they use that later in life on these people when they want to discredit them and break them down and turn them into pedophiles or what else they're going to do. And that's the problem when you deal with them in any fashion. Like, people don't know, Khalid Muhammad was actually flipping shit on the CIA, talking about how he was going to expose all of their agents that was in NOI. That's why that whole thing had to be dealt with, because in order to get Clinton in Harlem, he had to go. You see what I'm saying? Clinton was the precursor, was the John the Baptist for Obama. You understand what I'm saying? He was the foreshadowing, like I was saying, the foreshadowing for Obama. And he killed more Africans in office than any president.
Yeah. And all these people praising him, and I'm like, can't you? And then if you say anything, you just don't like white people. I said, no, you got to be real. What's going on? But it's like it's like so many of our people out here. I just stopped trying to talk to folks because I just said I'm wasting my time.
You cannot waste your time on that. These people will have you talking to you blue in the face, and then still will do it. And then it won't be until something happened to them where they wind up calling you like, oh, you know what, he was right. That is true.
Yes, because I have a friend like that.
Oh, do this.
I used to I would tell her stuff years ago, and she would just think, oh, Linda's crazy. And then she started calling me as she started seeing this stuff happen. She said, yeah, you were right. You said that was going to happen. You said that was going on. I said, well, I told you.
Obvious. That's the thing. They've turned us. They've turned women against their femininity. These women follow their own intuition no more. They follow what another woman tells them to do, or what their mother tells them to do, or whatever. So because your mother
or what the TV tells them to do,
or what the TV tells them to do, or what the magazine tells them to do. But let their man try to tell them anything. You can't control me. You can't do this. But let a white man do it. Oh, you know what? I think I'm gonna just try this. Like, it's sick. It's sick, and it's a voluntary thing now. But see, with the black man, he is now to the point where he feels he don't have nobody but himself. He turning into himself. He becoming gay just to have a reflection of himself that's not trying to attack him, but is still penetrating him. You see what I'm saying? In a destructive manner. This is how sick the male has become. The female has become so sick that she is now trying to actually find instances where she can find ways to dehumanize him even more. Just as almost, I think, as a cry for help, like, stop me. You know what I mean? Like, I be feeling it like that sometimes. Like, it's like it seems like these women doing this just to get somebody to just grab them and shake them and be like, what are you doing to yourself, man? What are you doing? Like what when Nicki Minaj did that whole ritual, that's what I was saying was connected to that whole Pope thing. When these Pope, this is a whole showing who was in control of the mind pattern of the black woman, because she is being used as the model to bar all black women to her impression. You know what I'm saying? That's why so again, if you want to be a black woman, you could be on the screen, but you got to be obese. And then if you're a good-looking, fine black sister, you got to be with a white man, or you got to be gay. Or you got to be with a black man who's in jail that you're leaving for the white man. But it's got to be something where you disrespecting the black man. Then, here you go, Monique, she win an Oscar. How you go from winning an Oscar to get your show canceled? Why? Because she start losing weight. She starts feeling better about herself. She start taking more time to show how she can dig up black people, and just like Arsenio, got rid of her too. And did all these niggas come and say anything about it? Nope. Damn, Monique, you lost your show. Damn, girl. You think these niggas would have anything themselves? Were they really doing something politically? No, because they've sworn so deep into shit that if they do anything to really help their own people, they'll be killed. That's just how it is. Whether they know it or not, whether they believe it or not, whether they accept it or not, when they sign them contracts without really doing knowledge to it, look on the back of the paper, look on the front of the paper, look at every word, how it's positioned, because there is a pentagram in that shit, and you are being signed up for service, okay? That's just how it is.
I know.
That's just how it is. And go ahead.
And then if they know that you might know something, they don't want to be bothered with you. Because I remember when I was on jury duty, and the judge asked me, well, juror number, da-da-da-da-da, what are you looking for? I said, Your Honor, I read the white on the paper. You know, they didn't want me there. Because they were saying, well, what do you think about, it was a drunk driving case. And I said, Your Honor, I saw Mr. So-and-so. He's an elderly man. He's using a walker. I said, are you sure he's not diabetic and maybe he just needed his insulin and he read as being an alcoholic and he wasn't drunk?
She got to go.
Yeah, it was like I had to go.
That's right. Because that's what I'm saying. When they know who they can deal with, that's why I said they're not trying to stop. But once they realize who you are, they got to get you out of there. That's their obligation. What these niggas caught up, when they get in there, they try to prove some shit to these niggas when really you're supposed to just be represented. So you're not there to talk about their Constitution. You only talk about your Constitution because that's not your law. You can't be going up in a court as a natural indigenous person talking about the United States Constitution. The only way you could bring that up and have it actually be of merit is by using it as a means to bond them by what they're supposed to do. And that's really just talking about the, according to the supremacy clause of their Constitution, you are forced to uphold whatever law I say that I am a part of. It's not about what you say I am. I don't give a damn what the papers say. I'm not a piece of paper. You damn a piece of paper? What kind of court is this? You know what I'm saying? Like, what's going on here? Well, I could never be that. I can't answer for that. Now, if you're talking about the debtor, are you talking about the debtor? You see? Once you start saying shit like that, you got to get me out of there. Because you don't want me to ask more questions and have that in the record and then come on Super Heru Radio and tell people what file to go to get the transcript. They don't want that. They're not trying to stop me. They're not our problem. I'm really understand. They're really not our problem, man. It's us. It's our people. It's us, man. It's us. We wasting time, man, trying to do all this stuff apart. Like, how we going to have a nation apart? You know?
Yeah, because then you got this one over here trying to do their thing, this one over here, and it's like, no, you got to call me your Royal Highness, and it's like, excuse me? Excuse me?
You know,
Are
okay,
you
if we
serious?
doing a formal thing, if we being announced on some, like, we doing some real Moorish, like, we coming together, consolidated, let's do that for everybody. Everybody could be that. But, okay, once we do that, and we whoop-de-whoop got the feds and all of the feathers and all of that, great. What are we going to do? What are we going to do when we leave here? What's the next convention going to be like? Because all we got to do is that. All we got to do is have a bunch of conventions that just are about what we're going to do for ourselves. That's it. They had a organizers meeting of all of the darker skinned. This happened a couple of years ago. All of the darker skinned nations in the world, and they said they didn't want no white people to come. You know, these white people was doing flyovers. They was trying to tunnel under the fucking place to find out what these black people was talking about, knowing damn well these same white people been going to a melanin conference that takes place in Hamburg every year since 1955, and not one nigga's in there has been. You know what I'm saying? Like, where's these people like Jay Alfred and these people writing these books on cosmic molecular melanin? Where this white boy from Iowa getting this knowledge from? You know what I'm saying?
They studying us.
Yes. That's why I
studying
know
us.
They're killing those of us that are falling victim, that are trying to ally ourselves, that's trying to be down with them, that's trying to do it. So I'm not saying you got to just hate white people and not be down with anybody that's European. Well, no, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that when it comes down to it, you're going to have to make a choice. Because they don't already made it. They don't already made it. So, genetically speaking, they are now putting themselves in position to put forth what they refer to as genocidal austerity, which is to get rid of all or as many darker-skinned people as possible, won't fell swoop by whatever means necessary. They actually wrote that in the thing, by any means necessary. Where did they get that from? Malcolm X, you quote Malcolm X in a Department of Defense document, man. Like, this is how deep we have taken over this whole thing without even doing nothing, by being the victim. So imagine if niggas actually stood up and was like, nah, you can do what you want to do with those niggas, but these niggas over here, they're not really down with any of that, and we're going to be left alone. And we will. With the funny shit is that people like Elijah Muhammad and these people said that when you put it to them in that sense at that time, they're going to accept it because they already know the prophecy. They already know. It's us. We are denying this shit. We are denying that they killed this woman ritualistically. When white people, you know how many white people I done seen on YouTube with all of this Whitney ritual killing shit? Just white people.
Because I know when I first heard it, I was like, oh shit, that's a ritual.
Yeah.
That's all I said.
Everybody.
I said that's a ritual.
We did that. We did that. Our consciousness put it out in the world so much consistently that these people can't kill nobody no more without somebody investigating it to the extent. Even if nobody go to jail or whatever, it'll never be rested until somebody gets to the bottom of it. They still trying to cover up 9/11. They still trying to cover up the fact they knew about Pearl Harbor. They still trying to cover up the fact that they didn't go to the moon the first time. They still trying to cover up. You see what I'm saying?
The Gulf of Tonkin.
Thank you.
All that stuff.
At the time, the admiral responsible for that was Jim Morrison's father. Jim Morrison from the Doors, who was in satanic rituals with Patricia Kennedy and Sammy Davis through the Church of Satan.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's pretty much a wrap. All we got to do is, focus on that, getting rid of the haters in your life, and using your spiritual technology, I think, to be able to master your physical. Because when you really follow your intuition, it's not going to put you in no place where some conflict going to pop off where you're going to get hurt. And even if it do, if you're working with it like that, you're going to be able to dip it. You know what I mean? Because that's what it say in the Bible. It say that you'll be beset on both sides by the destruction of all of the wicked world, and you'll be led right down the middle. So, I'm not going to throw the baby out with the bathwater. I'm not going to act like the Bible bad because, Creflo Dollar bad. You know what I'm saying? Because whatever it was about the Bible, whatever you want to call it, because there's all these theories on whatever, it worked for my great-grandmother. And if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't know it like I know it now. You know what I'm saying? So there had to be, again, some good in it in order for us to be able to commune like this. So thank you again, as a grandmother, as my grandmother, thank you again for calling, Queen. And
you're so welcome.
Indeed, and hanging
out
with us.
And I, love the show, and I'm, always listening.
Thank you, Queen. We love you.
Okay, peace.
Safe, and we'll speak to you soon. Peace.
Okay.
904, you on Super Heru Radio? Peace. 904. Okay. 424, you on Super Heru Radio?
Peace. What's going on, brother?
Peace, brother. How you doing?
Doing all right, man. That's what I saw, man.
Hey, what's up, G? How you doing, man?
What's up? Maintaining, man. Out here. You know what I'm saying? What's going on with you, Op?
One day at a time,
Yes, sir.
I can't complain. I mean, I would, but I'm not. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, man. We just take what Allah puts in front of us and keep it moving.
Inshallah. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, man. Man, a lot to catch up on. You know what I'm saying? I know it's been a minute. But man, I done had a couple of a few little dreams pop through, and now I'm getting like the witness of it. I had a couple of dreams, man, where these planets was being lined up.
Yep.
Right. And it was Mars, it was Venus, Jupiter, and it was Earth. You know what I'm saying? It was just all being lined up. Just like last night, I even had a dream where I was driving like west. I was coming down the line over here in Compton, and I was driving west, and it was kind of like the evening time, because the moon was out. It was a crescent moon. I know we're dealing with the crescent right now. And then there was a planet that just popped up, just like out of nowhere, and then the planet just disappeared. You know what I mean? Yeah, just, what I'm saying? But then I'm getting awareness that we in this galactic alignment popping off.
Yeah, we in this next phase, man, where it's like a little portal opening through. Where people, all of this energy is coming through Venus, the moon, and Jupiter, making this grand trine, which is also allowing other souls to come through, because that's like a stargate. Whenever the stars hook that up, and like I said, by the 15th, 12th to the 13th, or the 15th, they're going to be like 3 degrees apart, so they're going to be real close. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
In terms of
my birthday is on the 20th.
See? Yeah, mine's on the 22nd of March.
Right.
Yeah, so it's definitely moving. Also, these, again, the moon, Jupiter, Venus, like the conjunctions that you see in your mind, are also the pineal, pituitary, hypothalamus, reorganizing their position to deal with the new phase that we're going to in terms of New Year, as well as the procession of equinox New Year, as well as the grand coming of this galactic crossing of the galactic plane. It's not really the galactic center, it's the plane that represents one reality to the next that we're crossing through. And that is in front of this giant rift, which again is symbolic of the giant of Newt, which is also the black hole, which also the sun and the planet is supposed to be in conjunction with. So this is something really a gift for us. That's why they're trying to get as many niggas as possible before it goes down to be able to actualize something, so that way it's not as many of us that they will lose by leaving. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So your dreams are basically working in conjunction with what was going on astrally. You see what I'm saying? Like all of us.
Okay.
So
and then also, too, man, I've been having these other dreams, too. Not really recently, but I would say over the past maybe somewhat course of the year where animals been popping up, mainly like dogs popping there like in the dream.
Yeah,
just like out of nowhere. I know, like, even like in life, like I could be out on the porch, like maybe just chilling. All of a sudden, just dog just come out of nowhere. I could be walking somewhere, you know what I'm saying? I hit a cut, dog just pop out, you know what I'm saying? Right. Like, okay, and the first thing I reference is like how I went down in the dream. You feel me?
Mm-hmm. Yes, because the dog is Anubis. The Anubis is the guide to the underworld. There's dog people and there's cat people. Dog people are people who deal with more like the material stuff, the material realm, or aspects of the material realm that they transmute into the non-material. Cat people are people who deal with more of the unseen realm and then influence that into the seen realm. You know what I mean? So a cat will sit there and you'll be sitting there looking at a cat and it'll be looking at all the spirits and everything around the room. It won't say nothing. It'll just do its thing. A dog will see something like that and start barking. You see what I'm saying? Because the dog looks at it as a physical threat. The cat knows that it's not going to materialize. You see what I'm saying? Okay. So these dogs that accompany you are also protectors in the form of, just in case shit was to pop off, this is a homie that you can look to. My son talked to me tonight about the black dog in his dream, came in his dream, and was trying to talk to him. This is another client I spoke to a while ago told me the same thing. They're having these images of these black dogs. These black dogs, again, is the melanin and the guard of the pineal gland. You know what I'm saying? That is starting to activate and is being brought forth through this imagery of Ampu, who is Anubis, who is melanin, who is the transmitter of the soul from one state of reality to the next.
Okay. Yeah, that's deep. Yeah. See, it's just been coming in, man. A lot of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Also, another thing, too, man, not to hold you up. Constellations, like I had a couple of dreams where, these constellations, like in the sky, it just was just like moving around, just like like shooting stars, but it'll be a whole constellation just moving just all over the sky, like moving low, moving high. You know what I'm saying? It's just crazy.
Those are beings. Like those are ancestors. That's the latent potential actualizing in a bioluminescent state. So we are now privy to our dreams being reality and our reality being our dreams. You know what I'm saying? So we don't need so much outside stimulus to do what we need to do. So all that's around us is outside stimulus. You see what I'm saying? To take away from whatever's happening. So whatever they want to Project Blue Beam and beam in the sky or fake or false flag or whatever they're going to do, they can't do it no more in the way that they did it before, because we automatically know. We're going to know that it's fake. There is no trust in the establishment at all. You know what I'm saying? But the establishment is on trust. Therefore, it cannot exist because the primary function of its founding has eroded. Therefore, it cannot exist in the present status. It has to either destroy itself and then create an alternate version, which is this New World Order shit, or it has to allow those who understand what's going on with it to bounce. You know what I'm saying? And that's us, because it's already written. They know. I feel like right now, G, right now, if we could come up with $12,000, I know a site where we could buy an army bunker that go like 1,200 feet into the ground, fully stocked and loaded, 12 mil. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like that. Right. Where you could just, yeah, it's 12 mil to buy, but it's like 12,000. Like if you want to rent, if you want to start to know what it's like to be in it, you could rent. Right. You could rent it. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
That's nothing.
Okay.
No money, man. That's no money. And this is the Army. This is the Army built so many of them. They don't even know how many they got. You know what I'm saying? Well, these niggas have done so much dirt, they don't even know. They don't know what's going on. So really, the only control they have is they little cliques that's doing whatever they're doing. They don't know what the other aspect of the government doing. They don't know. Nobody knows. Nobody knows what's going on. It's all screwed up. We know more about what's going on with them niggas than they do.
Right.
Right.
They just doing shit, not even knowing what they doing. Yeah.
They don't. They run around it. You know, my grandma used to say that they may run around this motherfucker, but they don't run it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because if they did, they'd be able to go in any country they want, set up shop. In order for them to do that, they got to kill people, they got to set people up, they got to train people, they got to pay. They don't have money for none of that.
Right.
They need people to destroy their own civilization. You know what I'm saying? They need internal destabilization. They need to promote pogrom rebellions, or what they call color revolutions, amongst quote-unquote student groups, which are really just students who went abroad, had scraped up money from Egypt, went abroad, went to Oxford, got approached by MI6, got their orders, came back home, got good jobs, became part of middle class, and now they got to do the whole thing because now they want to topple the government. This is why right. Why would the rebels shoot the people? How come they ain't shooting the police? Like, what revolution goes down where the revolutionaries shoot themselves? That shit don't make no sense. It don't make sense.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Therefore, I'm not going to get up. I'm not going to feel like, oh, this is going to be World War IV. It's going to happen. It's going to get up. If it was going to happen like that, we wouldn't know. Yeah, so I feel like the fact that we know the Creator's already created a place for it. That's not our problem. Right. I feel like the more we find out, I feel like the more we find out and the more we let it go, the more it's not our problem.
Exactly. It's like so much of this that be going on. No, go ahead, brother. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, man.
No, it's like so much of all this that be going on, you just be like, and people be asking you about it. I don't even be knowing half the shit that be popping off. It's like, I be hearing it, but then again, I be like, I be so far removed, like moving in my own cipher.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, that happened. Oh, that went down. Oh, such and such did what? Oh, okay, whatever. You know what I'm saying?
You see, that's what I'm trying to say. But you get it. You get the intel. Allah is seen and heard everywhere. So when niggas talk shit about you or niggas talk shit about me, I hear it. You know what I'm saying? Because it's going to come back somehow or other. And based on how it's done, but what niggas don't know about me is that in instances where I feel people are sent to me to talk shit, I say things in a certain way. So when it comes back to me and I hear it, I know what channel it went through. Niggas don't even know how deep you got to be sometimes just to not be involved, just to be indifferent. Because we as black people are trained to be emotionally attacked and involved with everything. You know what I'm saying? So we don't know what it's like to just be taxed for some shit. We be indifferent about the wrong shit. We be indifferent about shit like perms and 40 ounces. You know what I mean? But we'll be, nonchalant about, like, working for the CIA or marrying a white woman. You know what I'm saying? Like, we like that. Yeah. So all I'm saying, well, not us, but, all I'm saying is all we got to do, G, is like you said, man, keep our law in mind and know that it's all already done. It's already done. All we got to do is keep our souls and our minds and our wits about us until the whole thing collapses. And in the meantime, and when that happens, have something to easily go into.
Yeah.
It's not hard.
Definitely.
We're making it a lot harder than it is because we believe that these people want to destroy us. And they do, but they don't want to destroy us to the point where there's none of us left.
Right, exactly.
Think about a world where everything that we contributed to it is not here no more. There'd be no world. There'd be nothing here.
Exactly. No, we got to be here. I mean, we was here from the beginning. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, whatever they got going on, whatever they trying to do, I mean, it can't even happen. You know what I'm saying? To the extent to where they got it planned out. That shit is like, you know, I mean, we see it right now. That shit, everything's just like backfiring on their ass.
Yeah, man.
You know,
can't do nothing more without somebody looking at it as something other than what it is, because it's inherently corrupt, man. They're inherently evil, and everybody associated with that shit is. I'm sorry, I gotta be general because all of these niggas there was none but black people at that. Black people love Cross Davis party. Black people love Cross Davis in that industry.
Yeah.
Who worshipped that nigga? Jermaine was there, and Jermaine was the nigga that he stepped to over 25 years ago in the hall of the Beverly Hills Hotel when Jermaine was first signed into the Arista record label he was setting up. And Jermaine was first artist, and he played the demo that Whitney gave him and asked him what he thought. And then Jermaine said, yeah, I'll help Whitney get songs. Jermaine used to love Whitney. But when Whitney got on, the whole shit started switching up. And then she started being caught about all these niggas. So by the time she did the Bodyguard shit, the white folks felt they had her. They like, oh, we got this. She's the one. Then what did this chick do? She went to see Bobby Brown. It was a rap. That common energy awakened in her. That Nemes Bastet energy. Remember that she was a high priestess of Amen on the supernatural, superconscious level, and downgraded into the conscious. Said, I gotta be with that nigga.
Right.
They was the premier couple of black people up until who? Beyonce and Jay-Z. And then to torpedo that, what did they do? The ones that was going to come up was going to be Rihanna and Chris Brown.
Yeah. And they're looking like, and they trying to put them back up.
Coming Michael Jackson. You know what I'm saying? So they had to throw the salt in the game in the beginning. But the problem is now they have validated everything we be saying. They will go to, they are trying to lock this nigga up off the word of 3 black chicken heads who said that he stole their phone. They trying to lock this nigga up for 5 years after he do a song with Rihanna, produced by The Dream. So look at the symbolism. The Dream is bringing Rihanna and Chris Brown, right, the so-called Aseer, right, the 2 fallen angels, back together to celebrate a song called Birthday Cake, a birthday, to celebrate a birth, a reunion, a coming together of a black man, successful young black male, successful young black woman energy. Even though it's satanically influenced, it was like they basically saying, hey, we did the ritual, we got our money, now we're going to hook it up. And to stop the black man and the black woman from being together, Billboard magazine put out a letter, open letter to her and Chris Brown individually, talk about what it's going to do. Now these niggas worrying about her little teenage friend. What message is this going to send to her teenage friend? Are you crazy? Have you seen this video? Are you insane?
All that shit. Yeah.
Are you crazy? Now you're going to show me the picture before when it happened, when you was dissing him, talking about how he's the worst thing. Everything but a child of God, Chris Brown. You don't show the pictures of her because you want to be respectful. Now she done reconciled with the nigga. Now you want to put up pictures of her beat up and shit on the front line. Like, come on, man. The black people don't see. They don't see how we don't see how they playing you. They playing you.
Right. Exactly. And see, what fucks the whole game up, man, is like our participation in the bullshit. You know what I'm saying? That's what keep the shit cracking.
That's why we fall.
You know what I'm saying? That's what keep the shit, like, powerful.
You don't get sacrificed if you don't mess with people. You don't get sacrificed if you don't mess with them.
Right.
We got it twisted. they really want to be around us. They want to be normal again. They want to have their soul again. That's why every song they making about how if they could just give it all away, they throw it away, and they don't want it, and this, and that. Of course, you're going to say that after you done sold your soul to get it. But what if you didn't sell your soul to get it and you got it anyway? And that's what they don't want to make it seem like you can't get it without going through that shit. And that's whack, man. That's distorting these kids. It's distorting these kids, and it's being perpetuated by these quote-unquote black intellectuals and these niggas that's trying to equate spirituality with money. Like, that's not real, man. I'm not saying you can be broke. Like, we're not supposed to be broke at all. But your money, if we really want to take it back, money comes from the Mons, and that's original people. You're talking about a people. You're not talking about a means of currency. You're talking about a means of currency that was developed by people. So in the end, spirituality is something that cannot be monetized. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And I'm not selling knowledge. I can't sell knowledge. All I can do is charge people for the time it takes me to accumulate this and put it out in a certain way. That's the only thing I could charge for.
Right, because you're putting your time into it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. Like, this is real. Like, because of people I know are people, we not tuned into none of this stuff like that. So these niggas will be putting shit, and then our people might hear certain shit errantly just in the day and be like, yo, this shit is going to happen. Like, what's hood? And then you listen to all these different shows, and then all these different shows give you all these different perspectives on the shit. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to have something that could have a consistent view that people could be like, you know what? I don't listen to the news, but I'm going to listen to some radio. You know what I mean? Because at least I'm going to just get it straight up. I'm not going to get all of the hype, the promo, the Funkmaster Flex shit, get everybody on, clicky, let's do it. Like, it's not that deep, man.
Right. Man, we got to keep that shit straight, no chaser, man. Like, straight, no chaser. Just straight to the cut, pure, uncut. You know what I'm saying? All that filtering, throwing rocks in the stream, man. Keep the river flowing. Keep the river flowing smooth. Niggas be throwing rocks in the river, fucking up the water, fucking up the path.
You know what I'm saying? Worrying, hating on the ripple, like, oh, that ripple was better than that one. Make a bigger ripple than that. Like, it's whack, and that's not something that white people is doing. White people ain't doing that to us. That's us doing that to each other. Right. I went to lunch today with my queen to date. There was a sister.
Yeah, shout out to the queen.
Natural hair. Peace. Sister with her natural hair. So we ate. She was real cordial, nice. She was the waitress there. Everything cordial, nice, boom. So we get ready to bounce. She getting off work with the other only ethnic woman there, the Asian chick. And she walks up, and then, it's like, oh, peace, what's up? It was great to meet you. Good to see you outside of there, blah, blah, blah. She was like, yeah. She's like, and Selena said, because, we as original women out here, we got to, look out for each other, because when the woman stopped her, she was like, I've been working out here for maybe 5 years. I've been working out here for a while, and we're the only two women out here with our own hair. She said, I'm here every day. She said, you're the only other woman I've seen out here with her own hair.
Wow.
Like, she would acknowledge that.
Wow.
Like, that's crazy, son. Crazy.
She said the only one.
The only one. She said, me and you. She said, said exactly. She said, and Selena said, when I saw you working there, I was like, oh, that's the original one working there with her own hair. Let me go there. You see what I'm saying? So, again, we all, but not all of us are acting like that's relevant. It's relevant.
Yeah, it is. It is.
We in it, man. But thank you, my brother, for going along with it.
Yes, sir. No, thank you, man. Appreciate you, man. Keep doing what you're doing, man. May Allah bless you and the family. You know what I'm saying? And tune in, man. I'm going to get up with you on Friday.
Inshallah. Peace, my brother.
Yes, sir. Peace.
Peace. Three 323 on Super Heru Radio. 323 on Super Heru Radio. Okay. Heru Radio. Peace. Can you hear me? Hello? No? 424 on Super Heru Radio.
Oh, that's me again.
Oh, my bad, G. Sorry. $704. You on Super Heru Radio?
Hello, what's happening, Aseer?
Peace, brother. How you doing?
I'm doing good, my brother. I am a big follower of you and all of the brothers that drop the science and the knowledge with the pure heart. I'm calling out of Charlotte, North Carolina, and
thank you.
I had a few. Go ahead. Yeah, I had a few things I wanted to say, and I wanted to ask a question. First thing I wanted to share with you is around 2001. You know, I was always wanting to meditate, but, you know, I smoked weed and hung out a little bit and all that good stuff.
Right.
And somehow in 2001, the spirit just came over me, and I started meditating out of the blue. I mean, I'd be hanging out with my friends and started meditating all the stuff. I'm going to get to it. But anyway, I was reading a few Egyptian books. I had this one book that had some chants in it. And we did concerts. So we was doing a concert. I think all of it got something to do with it because we was in Boston, Massachusetts. And flying home, I was reading the book, and I read over the chants. I didn't understand them, but then I got back home to Charlotte, laid down in the bed, and you know how I Dream of Jeannie, how it sound like Jeannie when she come out the lamp, that sound, it sound like shh.
Yeah.
Okay, I laid down on the bed, and after about 2 minutes, I could just feel like my solar plexus spinning. Then next thing I know, I heard that sound. I'm out of my body. I'm looking at my body on the bed, and I'm like, you know, before I can even be, you know, astounded about that, I was gone in an instant. And then I went to a place. It was all dark, and it was real. It felt real. It was real dark, and it just felt just like I was safe, peace, all that good stuff. So I reached out and I touched you. Are you with me?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah. Okay. I reached out and I touched the wall, and the wall lit up, and it was hieroglyphs. And by this time, I'm really excited. I'm like, good God, I'm not tapped in. And pretty much, I took my hand off the wall, and it got dark again, and I was compelled to just turn around. And, man, when I turned around, man, Horace was staring me right face to face, nose to nose. And, man, that was a little too much for me at that point. And then I experienced falling. I just, you know how people say they falling in a dream? I was falling.
Yeah.
And
that was
basically I landed back in my bed, and, you know, and, you know, I have to chat with you on a little longer. Pretty much, you know, folks out there in the world, in the radio land, pretty much that's all that happened. I had a little mirage later, but I just wanted to put that out there because I wanted to share that because that was an experience, and it happened around 2001.
That's a pineal activation, G. And
wow.
There are images. There's an image of Heru leading a man by the hand facing the east. And then there's another one where the man is facing Heru, but Heru is sitting on a throne. You might want to get that picture because that, with your meditation, he presented himself as a guide to beseech the higher ones for you. because he doesn't really exist in this corporeal form. Therefore, what he is a manifestation of a potency or an energy that has built up over a succession of years, that has gained a certain degree of consciousness that is related to your central nervous system. So the manifestation of it was an image of something that has brought out of you, that you associated with a higher form of consciousness. You understand what I'm saying? It's the thing that comes out of you that is used to bring about the interface with you with the higher intellect. So because Horus represents, or Heru represents, an archetype of super spiritual knowledge and access to, and hieroglyphs represents access to that. These are what manifested for you. Whereas somebody else, maybe they look at Isis or a set like that. You see what I'm saying? And instead of hieroglyphs, it may be cuneiform. You know what I'm saying? Whatever it is, though, the species mind pattern based upon the individual makes it actualized to be able to push through. So we, as physical beings, have to do things to get in a super spiritual state to allow the barriers of what we perceive to be physical reality to be eased enough within us enough to feel the energy of these spirits, if you will, or whatever you want to say. Yet these things that we're talking about are not good or bad. You know what I mean? Because these devil niggas is using Horus too. You know what I'm saying? They using Isis too. You know what I mean? They just using it from the perspective of them having to have an aspect of dark magic to exist in. That black place you was in is what Elijah Muhammad referred to as the triple stage darkness, or what we refer to as DMC, the triple stage darkness, or what the Kabbalah refers to as the endless world. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I was going to say it felt real good in there. I mean, indescribable.
Like better than
indescribable. Like a womb. That's what it felt like, because, you know, imagine being taken from looking at myself on a bed, and all of a sudden I'm in an unknown place. And I'm going to tell you, one time I was meditating before, and this was like in the broad daylight, and I remember just like hearing a void. Like everything stopped. Like I had my eyes closed, and then all of a sudden I didn't hear nothing. I didn't hear no background music, and that kind of freaked me out during the daytime. But this particular time, and I also will say that this is another thing I think is very important. When I first started meditating, one night I just started meditating maybe about a month or something. This is around that, 2000 or something, about 2001. What else? No, it was about 2000, something like that. Anyway, make a long story short, I remember a trapezoid, like on Star Trek, how like an energy form. I remember like a trapezoid type thing coming into my room, like just like folding over on each other like just floating. And go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's what they call the Merkaba. What you saw was the geometric pattern of the Merkaba, which is the light vehicle of God, the thing that allows us to be able to become light and non-light. We all have the ability to fold into it because it's an actualized state of our existence as human beings. We just forgot how to do that. So astral travel became the way to do it. So you know how like when you're asleep, the processes that exist in the waking mind are inhibited to allow outside stimulus to be broke down, to allow you to fully focus totally on you. Whereas when you're awake, the inhibitors of sleep are enhanced or shut down to keep you awake during the outside stimulus. But according to the brain, the brain itself does not know the difference between when you're asleep and when you're awake. You understand what I'm saying? It has no semblance. There's no state. The only place that exists where we are vulnerable is where our imagination, soul, and creativity meet. There we're vulnerable because there's no limit to what can be influenced or put into based on the data. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's like a place that hasn't been discovered yet that everybody's trying to get to before the other one. You understand what I'm saying? It's a means of conquest of the internal soul to set up colonies in the mind that allow the colonization to exist generationally, which is what we are all suffering from.
I realize I believe that because I realize that we constantly build ourselves with our thoughts and our words because you know how the word cell, like cell phone, all this kind of stuff. We say that word so often, and I realize that our voice is like a transmitter to all your cells.
Yeah.
That's why they keep us distracted and keep us on a negative vibe. And another thing, I was listening to you earlier when you was talking about how we basically identify with, just being integrated and we don't have any self-identity. And basically I was thinking while you guys were talking that we kind of connect only on the negative side, meaning that we can identify with like the shit being
negative.
fucked up and think about this. Everything that we find good, we allow them to partake in it.
That's my point.
So it don't connect. It don't connect.
We don't respect it. We don't have nothing for ourselves because we, black people, look at white people as money. I don't give a damn how you want to rationalize it. We look at them the way we look at it. I can make money off of this nigga. That's how they look at us now. That's why they look at us like that now, because that's how our ancestors did them. So if we can be real with that, then we can be real with the fact that money marries. Regardless of how good, much money, rich people would rather stay rich. So they'd rather somebody that's rich. So if there's no rich black people around, I'm going to marry this rich white person and keep my rich money. That's just how it works. And that's how they worked Western society like that. So if we can admit that that's what it is, then we can admit then that if the man is a black man and he's in a relationship from the perspective that his ancestors came from, he's from the perspective that her ancestors own him, and they are only dealing with a relationship that is contained within a certain amount of years. But we as people go through generations of thoughts, memories within one given lifetime. So if you are in it and you are still looking at yourself as, let's say, descended from a Negro and that this is a white woman and you coming up, then that's all you're going to see in her. Whereas what she sees in you is a genetic come-up. Because that's what it is. Sorry, that's what it is. That's what it's about.
But we've been reduced to...
You black woman, the black woman losing her behind white. The black woman don't want the black man, so the white woman snatching them up. And then all the shows on TV, Ice-T Love Coco, Chloe and Lamar, this one, all of the shows on TV is about the lasting relationships are what? Black men and white women, right? Or black women and white men. But in real life, what we got? Chris Brown and Rihanna getting back together would be like Ike and Tina burying the hatchet. They don't want that, and that's what it is symbolically to me. Remember you heard me first. That's what I think is really going on. They trying to reconcile that. The same way I was saying how Sprague Benz is the physical representation of a unification on the spirit realm between Noble Jew Ali and His Majesty. It's the same way this shit could be going on with them because, again, Tina...
Him and Foxy Brown.
That's right. Exactly. Yep. So, who knows? All I do know is... Go ahead.
No, because what it is it's almost like this. People haven't looked at energy. See, most people only react, like you said, because of money. Money will stimulate them to do something or not. Now, when you deal with some of our celebrities, they done been through hell and high water, they've been rich, they've been poor, they've been controlled, they've been basically banished. So then when they can see through all this shit and realize the value, the intrinsic value that they have and the power. Look, I'm going to tell you this on the strength. I just got divorced. Me and my wife, man, we had so much power as a couple. When they seen me and my wife together, man, good God Almighty, every door open.
That's
people,
right.
We went to our honeymoon in Brazil, man.
Right.
Several people referred us to king and queen, man, because pretty much I'm a brother who in the knowledge, so I carried my posture, but at the same time, in the spirit, it kept coming out. So, you know, and as far as just, you know, like the identity of the black man, how, you know, we've been totally destroyed, and especially in the mind of our woman, you know, that gives them the mind to want to attack us on a constant basis.
Mm-hmm.
And
right.
you know, pretty much, I'm not gonna hog it up because I really wanted to get that out and share that. And you know, I really appreciate, you know, man, I'm gonna tell you a lot of things you said from like back in the day, man. I mean, it's almost like we kind of aligned on going through these processes. And you know, it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. But I'm gonna let the road go, and you know, if you got some clothes or something, I'll just let it go.
No, I appreciate it, my brother. You know what I mean? And I really appreciate the support and you calling in and all of that. And if you ever want to holler at me, if anybody wants to holler at me, you can always hit me up at houseofl@hotmail.com. You know, HOUSEOFEL@hotmail.com. That's my email, so you always be able to holler at me. Or if you have that government spying site, Facebook, you can email me through that, Facebook me through Aseer Ali Cordoba. It's a joint page with me and my wife. It's funny you say that about your wife thing because for the longest, people have been urging her and I to get separate pages and shit. But I tell you the truth, I don't want to do all that maintenance. I ain't trying to be on the computer like that. Monitor my page, her page, the website page, the blog talk page, this page. I'm trying to have less time on the computer. You know what I'm saying? So for those people, please don't get offended or whatever. It's just the fact that this is how we are choosing to deal with our page. You know what I mean? It's a joint thing. So if you ever want to holler at her privately or whatever, you can do that. It's our page. It's all good. You know what I mean?
I think that's great because really, you know, it's real divisive because really, like, naturally, us men and women, it's almost like this, in my opinion. We have been, as men, we've been downgraded. So our woman is just like, we're naturally powerful people. So our woman's going crazy out here. They don't see a man that won't stand on his wheel. You see what I'm saying? And they looking for it. They shaking every bush to see. And there it is. And I agree with you because really, it's like this, man. It is what it is. You love your woman. Man, listen. Most of our women don't realize that we love them. We ain't caught up in tick for tat. We love to hold them, the inside and out, but it's almost like they won't acknowledge that, and that keeps that divide. But anyway, thanks for letting me speak, and you know, like I said, I appreciate all the things, and I'm gonna probably, you know, I'm definitely gonna contact you on the Hotmail. I don't have a Facebook, and for that, me and my wife kind of broke up because she basically lost her job, got on Facebook, started contacting, you know, old acquaintances, and all this negative stuff just came out. And, you know, pretty much that's all I'm going to say on that because that's an individual thing because personally I saw, you know, that she was already on the wrong track a little bit, had the wrong seeds planted from being just...
But you better for it, man. Went through it, and you're on the other side now, you know what I'm saying? So you definitely are in a better place. All you can do is pray for her and help and do you know?
True, man. Wise words spoken. And thanks a lot. I'm going to let you get back. Peace. Has been a pleasure speaking with you. Peace. Tell your queen and your seeds peace and love and blessings. And contact you soon.
Mm-hmm. No doubt. Thank you, my brother. Speak to you soon. Peace.
Peace.
So, yeah, guys, thank you again for participating, coming through, and being, again, once part of the discussion. And inshallah, this will definitely lead to greater things to come. So if you want to holler at me again or Selena again about our workout DVD, you can hit me up at houseofl@hotmail.com, or you can hit me up at houseofl@hotmail.com. Also check out www.aseerthejudicators.com. And again, man, we'll speak to you soon. Peace. Also, please check out www.sagasod.com. And inshallah, we'll definitely do. Peace.